They were peaceful people. These were great people. The crowd was unbelievable. And I mentioned the word love, the love in the air. I've never seen anything like it.
Donald Trump will do any and everything that he can possibly get away with. He does not at all support the Constitution of the United States of America. This is a man who we better be careful about. I want to know about all of those right-wing organizations that he's connected with who are training up in the hills somewhere and targeting, what communities they're going to attack. We need to know now, given that he's telling us that there's going to be violence if he loses.
Placing so many Republicans in Manhattan, so many Trump supporters in Manhattan, is that surprising?
No, not at all. It's turning now. Trump's turn again.
What's your message to Joe Biden?
F*** you.
All right, we are live right now. Let me just put this. How's everybody doing tonight? How is everyone doing? All right. Good evening, everybody. I see my mic is still not synced yet. I try to work on that over the weekend. Still not synced, but it does seem like we have audio. I see that coming in, and I do have chat. All right, beautiful. This chat overlay on the screen for you guys. All right. There we go. Wow, crazy day, huh? I guess I picked a good time to come back. And I know a lot of people are probably going to say, oh, Mass is coming back now. I made an audio video check on Friday or Saturday, I can't remember now, and said I would be going live in the next 2 or 3 days. But because I had tonight off, it just seemed like the right night to do it. And hey, I'm liking where we are right now. And for everyone who made money today, I'm extremely happy for you. It's been a long time since we've had something to celebrate with AMC or GME. And I like to see retail win always. And I love seeing the hedges get crushed. So, am I ecstatic with the way things turned out in the play? No, but am I going to come here and mope around today? Absolutely not. I'll take a W for retail any day. And I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we'll talk about it, obviously. We'll speculate on where this thing is going. Are we going to retrace tomorrow? Is it going to take off in pre-market? Why is this happening? We'll get into all that stuff tonight. But yeah, I guess this was a little bit of a coincidence that I picked this weekend to come back. But that was just the way it worked out. And I don't know. Hopefully I brought some good luck to you guys. I know I'm still down a ton. So this move today, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't mean much, but let's take the W. And for those of you who did make a bank today, congratulations. And I'm extremely happy for you. I again, like I just said, I always want retail to win. And I love seeing the hedges get crushed. And that's what happened. They're down like what? 1.4 billion, I think was the last number. So right on. Let's keep it up. All right, I'll say hey to some people in the chat real quick, and then we'll talk. I'd like to know what you guys think about what's going on. I'll give you my thoughts, and we'll take it from there. Let me pop the chat out real quick. Here we go. Okay. I'll go back to the chat. Joe, how you doing tonight? Yuka, what's going on, my friend? Jeffrey Roca in the house. Sir Hodlers. Ben, how's that going? Kryptonian, Caleb. All right, we got Dufresne here. All right, we got all my old homeboys are here. Nice. It's good to see. Mopar Adventure, what's going on? Yuka says, Mass, did you get a cat? No. Do you see a cat in the background? Is there a cat? If there's a cat, I'm out of here. This place is haunted. Mopar Ventures, I have $17 YOLO. Wait, 17 YOLO $8 calls expiring the 17th. Let's go get more attendees. I'm all about it. I'm all about it. I haven't done anything. Obviously, for those of you guys who watch the audio video check, I'm just getting back on my feet. So I'm just glad to see that my portfolio doubled up in the last couple of days. And maybe a little more than that because of the GameStop shares that I own. But yeah, I'm very happy. I mean, I could possibly not have to buy a secondhand couch with the moves we made today. I might be able to go to Jordan's or Ashley's. Really spring for something nice. Caleb, good to have you back, says Caleb. Man, it's good to be back. It's good to be back. It took me a while to get settled and get back on my feet. I really was struggling there for a bit, but you know, like I said the other day, things are looking up right now, and it just happened coincidentally that we had a massive run in the memes. And, you know, those sacrifices I had to make the last couple months were because I continue to hold my AMC stock. So it seems like a little poetic justice, I guess. The timing just worked out perfect. Geo, the Bulls fan. Should I invest right now? All right. So let me tell you. So I just before I came on here, I was talking to my father, and he didn't know what was going on. So I kind of explained to him, gave him the rundown, and just said, and I'll say the same thing I said to you. I'll say to you guys. Here's what I think. Well, first of all, let's look at what happened, because it seems like there was a little bit of a buildup in GameStop since like May 2nd, right? That's when it started to make its like creep. And then Roaring Kitty put a tweet out. Let me see here. I'm just going to pop up on the screen real quick. This is the tweet. So if you look back, you can see June 19, 2021 was this last tweet before May 12th. And that's when GameStop took off, right? And it's just a guy sitting up in his gaming chair, paying attention to the market, to GameStop. So I don't know what this huge, I mean, listen, Keith made what, tens of millions of dollars, right? For those of you who saw the GameStop movie. So, I mean, he doesn't really have to tweet. I don't know if this had something to do with the congressional hearings, if the SEC or someone, you know, or his lawyers recommended that he not talk to anyone or do any social media. That's very possible. Why he put this tweet out, I don't know, but it certainly caused a shitstorm for the hedge funds. So thank you, Keith. Appreciate it. And of course, Keith's from the Boston area, so used to work at MassMutual. So it's good to see a local guy doing some damage. But yeah, so I mean, obviously it's not just the tweet. There's some other things going on within the market. But here's what I will say. So talking to my father, I said, you know, it's all about momentum right now. Because he said, well, how are the movies doing right now? Are people still going to the movies? I said, you can't think of it like that, Dad. You got to get that thought out of your head. This is not a long-term hold. We're talking about a momentum play right now. This is get in, strike while the iron's hot, and get out. And, you know, that's for people who have dry powder laying around right now, or some people who have been holding as long as we have. You know, the people who have been in this place since February, March of 2021, before the first run-up. You know, I would like to try to take advantage of this right now, right? And try to make some money on top of the shares that I've been holding all this time. Because for me right now, selling at $6 today is not going to, when you're down 96%, a move like today looks great on a chart, right? I mean, it's a massive move. But again, this grand scheme of things, you know, I'm not getting rich off this if I sell tomorrow. Up 78% during the day and then 23 after hours. Man, I mean, that's an amazing move. And then I saw the volume today was for 460 million shares. When was the last time we saw volume like that? So there are people buying and selling. You know, people are probably taking money off the top. They're taking their profits. And that's what retail investors should be doing. I'm not going to tell anyone what to do, obviously. But, you know, if you're up 30, 40, 50%, like I said to my dad, no need to be greedy, right? So I just said, hey, listen, look for a possible retracement. Let's see, maybe some of this will die down. It's very possible that it's too late to get in right now. Or not too late, but we kind of missed that first original move, right? But if it comes back down to 3 or 4, you know, there's a very good possibility. I mean, all the big social media people are talking about it right now, right? So Tim Pool's done videos on it and mentioned in his social media, the Tate brothers and, you know, Roaring Kitty. So what did they get? 21 million views on his Twitter account? I mean, it almost does feel like June 2021 or January 2021, right? It has that same, definitely has that same feeling to it, to me at least. All right, let me get back to the chat. I want to say hey to a bunch of people because a lot of people haven't been around in a while. So let me say hey, and we'll get back to talking about more stuff. Hillsy, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Great to see you too. Joanne, good to see you. G-Man, AM, Hammer, what's going on? Doc Breezy's in the house. RJ Mansham, Ivan the car guy. All right, I think I'm caught up. All right, so as far as getting in right now, I'm not going to tell anyone that it's too late. I want to see what happens tomorrow when the market opens. It does just feel like you have that feeling of back to those other 2 short squeezes again. And I want to say that the short interest, I think on GME was only about like 25%, right? We're not talking about January 2021 when GME had 140% short, right? It's very different scenario. But there's a lot of things that are very similar. And this is all about momentum right now, again. And if the social media is going crazy about it, then anything's possible. I mean, people know what this stock can do. My financial advice would be smart. Be smart. Think about, you know, you got all night to think about it before the market opens, right? I know for me personally, selling tomorrow at 6 something is just not in the cards. That would be a massive loss. So I will never tell you guys what to do, but I'm probably going to wait to see another massive move. And if it does come back down to the $3, $4, somewhere in that range, could we see another pump? Sure. And that's what I said to my dad. I said, that's what I'll be looking for tomorrow is maybe some consolidation or retracement. And then who knows? Is this going to be the MOAS? I would never say that. I've never said that. But anything's possible. But again, my losses right now are still huge. So selling tomorrow for me is just not in the cards. Trey says infinity squeeze. I mean, obviously we are squeezing right now, and 1.4 billion. I think GME did 1.4 billion in losses for the hedge funds. So all things we can rally behind, right? I'm going to put this up real quick. This is kind of a breakdown, just catching up. I know a lot of you probably know all this information, but I haven't been around in a couple months, so I'm just going to catch up real quick. So this is from NBC yesterday. Roaring Kitty trader returns causing GameStop shares to jump more than 70%. So it goes in and talks about the lawsuit here. And it says GameStop is one of the 4 struggling companies, including AMC, Bed Bath & Beyond, and BlackBerry, that retail investors on Reddit financially adopted during the pandemic. In dual effort to keep the lights on at those companies, as well as to put a short squeeze on hedge funds that bet against long-term success. Goes back to talk about the 5 million, how we wiped out Melvin. Says Roaring Kitty's post helped bump GameStop share price to 28.25 on Monday. GameStop's all-time high stock price is $120.75 in January 2021. Obviously, that's before the split. Let's see. Says talks about the meme stock frenzy buying may be back with AMC up over 78%, and DJ Trump up over 1. I think it finished 8% on the day. That's for Trump stock, and that was something that Tim Pool mentioned. He talked about that he was with Trump a few weeks ago at Mar-a-Lago, and Tim Pool was telling him that he had invested in DJT. And he said he was thinking to himself, how is it possible that people aren't buying this stock to sell it? So what's going on? And he spoke with Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and Trump was explaining to him about, the shorts coming after the company and manipulation and everything else that we know that is happening. So it's good to see them get a taste of their own medicine for once, because it just seems like we've been on the worst losing streak in the history of finance or sports or you name the category. So to see them get crushed in the last 24 hours has just, it puts a smile on my face. I know that. All right, I'm going to take some of the people from the chat, put some messages up on the screen, and we'll start talking back and forth. RJ Mancham says, hey, I remember you from the train. Really? Yeah, man. Okay. Yeah. From the train. Yes. What's going on, man? Good to see you. No shit. That's awesome. Ivan the car guy says, hey, Mass, what do you think will happen tomorrow when both AMC and GM are both over 20% in the after hours? I mean, personally, for me, I'd like to see it come back a little bit, and I will try to get in with what I can put in. Like I said, it's been tough the last couple of months. So, it was finally just getting my own place and having to come up with all that front money right on the front end, that security, first and last, all that. So, I don't have a ton of dry powder to throw around, unfortunately. And I'd be a little cautious about buying options right now or any of that stuff. I strictly would be looking for a retracement and get in, try to buy the dip and take it on a ride. My original shares that I've been holding this whole time, like I said, that's probably always going to be a hold for the moon or bust. And I don't think AMC's busting anytime soon. Look, we've had some rough numbers at the movies. There's no doubt about that. They still have a massive amount of debt that they have to worry about, but that's getting restructured, and I don't think they're in jeopardy of bankruptcy. I think Aron just said the other day that that's completely off the table, and no one wants bankruptcy. So if we can avoid that, and I'm assuming that they capitalized and got some money in the last 24 hours, right? I'm hoping there's a good possibility that Dilution. Let's check and see. Has Aron tweeted anything yet? I checked a few hours ago when he hadn't said anything. So let's go look at X and see if he has tweeted yet. I lost my mouse for a second. Hang on. All right, here it is. Let's see if AA has tweeted. AA. If I knew how to spell. Boom. No, nothing. Okay. Jeffrey, thanks, man. Good to be back. Good to be back. I was a little nervous, actually, first coming on. I don't know why. That's crazy after 3 years of doing this. But when you take a long break like that, it does take a little while to get back into a groove, just a little bit. Gio the Bulls fan says GameStop at 40 now. Yeah, that was another thing. Somebody asked me about that GameStop too, and I was like, hey, listen, anything is possible, right? But I'm gonna say the same thing I thought to myself back in February, March, and April of 2021. The lesser of the two stocks. Like, let's just compare what's going on right now and almost look at them the same way as it did, right? So GameStop was I think at like, you know, $140, $150, where AMC was down like 25 in January of 2021. It'll be easier for retail to get in with AMC over GameStop, strictly based off the price per share, right? Can afford to buy more shares, supply and demand, price goes up faster, right? And the GME run has been really kind of creeping since like May 2nd, 3rd, 4th, somewhere in there, it started to make its first original move. So if I had to pick one of the two right now, and I have nothing against GameStop, and I have GameStop, I own GameStop. You know, you're talking about 5 or 6 to 1 right now ratio of how many shares you can get for a bang for your buck. You know, what's interesting to me is the videos on Roaring Kitty's X the last couple of days, or actually just in the last day or so. I don't know who's doing the videos, but it seems like, you know, I mean, these aren't like these take a little time to produce, right?
Make no mistake. It's not revenge he's after.
Hang on, I'm trying to get this out of picture in picture. Yeah, these aren't just like 30-minute videos.
It's not revenge he's after. It's a reckoning.
You tell him I'm coming! And hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
I mean, he's got music, sound effects.
Make no mistake.
Now, could he be just like subbing out to Fiverr, having to make these 30? Maybe, right? I mean, he's got the money. And if he wanted to make them himself, I guess he's got the time. But seems like, I don't know. It's a little weird that he's got all these videos coming out. And then, you know, you have this rush of posts after you haven't heard from the guy in 3 years, right? It's kind of wild. Let me see what the chat is saying. So, Kryptonian, the documentary has been done since the end of April. I've had it finished, ready to go. I have one thing going on in my personal life right now that is holding me. Listen, when it comes out and you guys see it, I take a hard line on some social issues. And I'm probably going to get labeled a lot of different names after this comes out because I didn't hold back with what I said and my thoughts on what's going on across the country, who's responsible for it. And I'm waiting to hear back right now about a job offer. And I've been waiting to hear, they're waiting on a background check. And as soon as that clears, it will be out. It's been done. But like I said, I took a hard line on a lot of social issues. And I pointed fingers at people and groups of people. Like I said, I just called it like I saw it. But there's going to be some pushback for that. And, you know, I'm not anonymous on the internet. So I had to think about, does my future possible employer going to see this and think differently of me just for telling the truth or giving my opinion? I would hope not, but it's an opportunity I've wanted for a long time, and I only get one crack at it. But the documentary is done, and I think you guys will really like it. It's gone from just a story about, you know, the cities I went to really going back and deeper into how we got to this place where we are now. Like, what were the steps who are the parties involved in this massive breakdown we see within the country between the drug abuse and everything else. I go pretty deep. And that's just kind of how it morphed over time as I worked on it and did more reading and research. And, you'll see patterns and you'll see certain groups of people who are completely behind this, who are funding it, who just want to see the demise of the Western world and want to see us not be as prosperous and maybe as proud as we once were. And that's unfortunate. But when I found out that certain people were behind it, I called it out. And yeah, there's going to be some pushback. But that's okay. It's worth it. I'd rather tell the truth. Let's see. All right, let me get to some of the comments here. Some of the people in the chat. Ryan says, I'm surprised AA hasn't said anything. Yeah, me too. I'm surprised. Although, what is he going to say, though, Ryan, right? Unless he comes out and says, hey, we're done with dilution, which that's another thing that you have to put into the possibilities for which way the stock could go tomorrow or the next day. If we get information that that's happened, that could cause a whole new frenzy of buying, right? So that's something kind of I'm waiting on to see, besides pre-market tomorrow and what happens when the market first opens. It would be nice to know, and I think that would help us as AMC shareholders if we got word from AA that it's all done. Trey says, hi, lost a majority of my AMC shares during the reverse splits. Trey, a lot of us did, man. A lot of us did. Big Boom, what's going on, man? Good to see you tonight. Ivan says, I would not be surprised if AMC opens above $7 tomorrow morning. What's the current short interest, says Peter James on AMC. Let me look at that, James. Hang on. Give me 1 second. I know I saw earlier that GameStop, like I said, was at, I think, 24 or 25%. Right now, 18.82 looks like. $55,000 shares. Yeah. Almost 2 days to cover. But man, trading today was insane. When was the last time we saw 460 million shares traded? How many did GME do today? GameStop. Come on, baby. Wow, it went up another $6 in after hours today. Holy jeez. Unbelievable. Let me put this up. Man, GameStop really took off, huh? Are most of you guys in both plays like me? 36.90 closed at. Man, I picked a good time to come back, but I picked the wrong time to be broke. I picked the wrong time to be broke right now. Ivan the car guy says, I need AMC to hit at least 100 to fully liquidate all of my shares. Yeah, Ivan, I think a lot of us are in that same boat, man. Like, if you can't get in today and make like a quick play, then, this this is still a long-term hold. We've just been getting absolutely annihilated. And, the box office hasn't been helping us, right? We've got problems because of these companies that just do not want to put out good material for some reason. I don't understand it. I mean, Disney, I was reading an article the other day. They said that their top 5 movies last year lost them almost $1 billion. And I just saw another article today that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse, like Disney seems like they're fudging their numbers right now. They're not including like certain production costs that are happening over in the UK. And man, if I was invested in Disney, they've been doing some wild stuff, man. And they're still at $120 a share right now. I don't even understand it. Big Boom says, just remember, this is another thing I said to my dad, right? That these numbers to us are very different. Big Boom says, just remember, AMC people were really only at 60 cents. It needs to go all the way to 50 for, right. Yep. Yeah, that's what I was explaining to my father too. I said, listen, you got to think of it as before the reverse split and after the reverse split. Had you held all the way through, a lot of us are in different boats right now than, say, someone who just bought in this morning before it went on a 70% run, right? Ryan says, this time is different than 2021. We are prepared and ready. Majority didn't sell GME at 500. Why would they this time? Yeah, that's another thing. And, I don't want to see people become bag holders. So, just be smart, guys, when you're trading. Take your profits. There's no need to be crazy greedy, right? I mean, we took them down for 1.5 billion. They're hurting from that. They're licking their wounds right now, but believe you me, they're planning their revenge. Jeffrey says, welcome back. Good to see you, man. Brian C says, long time no see, Mass. How you been? I'm hanging in there, man. I'm doing a lot better now. My final interview actually was this afternoon at 2:30. I had an hour Zoom call interview, and yeah, I gotta wait for that background check to come through. But I passed out. Honestly, I never thought I would be at this point in the application process. I never thought I would get this far, which is why I put up on Twitter like 2 weeks ago a release date for the documentary, because it's been done. But then I kept passing different things, and it's just get put out and put out and put out. I've had 2 phone interviews and 1 Zoom call interview that was an hour today. So yeah, I mean, my apologies about that. But yeah, this is a big opportunity. Maybe not so much getting into the ground level, but the room for growth is huge. And I'm not getting any younger, so I'm trying to find a solid, good company that I can work for the next 20 years before I retire. I told you guys in the audio visual check the other day that I'm working overnights right now from 9 to 6:30, and it's not fun. It's not fun at all. I don't want to do that forever. It's rough coming home in the morning. You're kind of amped up from being at work all night, and the birds are up chirping, the sun's out, and it's nice. And it's hard to lay down and go to sleep at that point. So my sleep schedule's all messed up. It's just that shift is not fun, but it's the highest paying shift I could get at the time. So I took it. D, good to see you in the chat tonight. You work. What's going on, man? It says, we are all traumatized, but the majority of people have not sold over the last 3 years. The shares have just been rehypothecated over and over and over to keep the price where it is. Caleb says, not sure exactly the source is from. I've been to sleep, started working nights last week. Me too, man. Welcome to the club. I bought at 67, been in since, and averaged down to $11. Been working and now able to hodl. So that is, I guess, one advantage to working overnight freight is I get home right when pre-market's going on. But then again, you need to get some sleep. So it's going to be tough to try to, and it's going to be a little while before I have money to play around with, before I can start making risque moves in the market again. And with everything that's going on right now in the wider world, I just saw a report from the IMF talking about America and the dollar. They were talking about globalization and the sanctions from Russia and people de-dollarizing, and our debt continuing to increase. I mean, now the Fed's coming out and saying that they're not going to be dropping rates anytime soon. What happened to transitory inflation? I have no idea. That word got dropped really quick, right? So it's important, to be smart with your money right now. Actually, speaking of that, didn't I write something down? Hang on one second, guys. I had a couple notes that I want to share with you. See if I can find them here. Because I had prepared a totally different video for tonight. I was going to talk about something completely different. And then obviously today happened and I was like, all right, well, my portfolio just doubled in size. And I know a lot of you guys made a ton of money. And, we finally got a W under our belts. So I wasn't going to come out and talk about the IMF and the Federal Reserve and the Treasury. I thought I had it written down here. Let me see if I can pull the article back up. In the meantime, I'll put another comment up. I saw Candace in the chat. Candace, how you doing tonight? I've been alive, Candace. I just had to wait to get a house. And I couldn't get a place with a roommate because, it's 11 o'clock at East Coast time right now, 11 o'clock. And I'm up screaming into a microphone and no one can live with me. So it was tough because trust me, trying to get a you can get a 1-bedroom around here. And if you wanted to go to a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, it would only cost $100 or $200. But you get to split that, right? You get to split that rent payment with someone and your utilities and everything else. If you want to live on your own, it's going to cost you. But I need to. I can't possibly live with someone, like I said, screaming into this microphone. You can probably hear it echoing in the background right now. Tossin, good to see you, man. How you doing tonight? Says, wow, Mass is back. Good to see you. This is not just because AMC ran today. On literally Friday night before I went to work, I did an AV check for like 10 minutes. We went on. I just was making sure everything was working and said I would be back in the next, 48 hours to do a live stream. And it just happened that today was the day I was coming back because I have tonight off. And AMC went up 100%. I wish it was always like that. P-S-U-L-S-E. Pulse says, where the heck you been, mister? Just getting settled down, man. Just getting settled down. This is the first live stream in 4 months. But I'm back in the States. If you missed the AB check the other night, yeah, just telling everyone I'm working full time, overnights right now, and I'm in the process of, I hope no one from my work is watching right now. But yeah, I'm going through an interview process that would be bringing me back to a daytime shift, which would be nice. It's really strange working overnights. Gorilla Grub, what's going on, man? Vern Dog says, I can't wait to see it. Yeah, I put the post on Twitter a few weeks ago. Many of you probably saw it with the release date. I did not think I was going to pass all of the checks I needed to get to where I am now in the application process. And I'm supposed to hear back. I was told today, she first said 7 to 10 days. Usually they get back to you with either an offer or, a denial. But she said usually it comes much quicker than that. So I'm hoping by the end of the week at least. Six Sun, what's going on tonight? Good to see you, man, in the chat. Chuck Blackmore. Barry Electronics says, go AMC. What's going on, man? Good to see you tonight. Your wife's boyfriend's here. Man, I've got a lot of old friends. Good checking in with you guys. Good to see you all in the chat. It does feel good to be back. It does feel good to be back. The weirdest thing is I'm still a little nervous right now. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm nervous. Riding a bike, you just get back on and do stuff. But when you take a time off like that, I guess it really does. I guess it really does take a little time to get back into the swing of things. But yeah, just getting accustomed to the computer setup and everything being new. Yeah, I just finally got a bed like a couple weeks ago. So I was on the floor for a bit. It was a rough transition getting back into the States. And, you know, the worst thing is I was running through my savings money in Canada and I wasn't able to have any income coming in because I could not get a work visa. Unless you are seeking asylum in Canada, they won't give you a work visa, no matter what. So I should have just went there and said I was a political prisoner. I probably would have better luck. Most of you guys are in both, huh? Dufresne says, yes, both plays could have sold GME 4 times for a decent profit, but need to see what tomorrow holds. I have a feeling a lot of people are doing that, right? I mean, it's only been one trading day. And we've seen the massive moves that AMC and GME can make in a 5-minute candle, 1 hour candle. It can jump 20%. So I was thinking, I said, you know what, tonight, I bet a lot of my audience probably did not sell today. I had a feeling. But then again, for a lot of us, this isn't that huge of a move, right? I mean, unless you bought in the last couple months, or I guess a little longer than that, right? But for the people who did swing trade this today, good for you. Jeff says, Robinhood restricted trading in overnight due to volatility. So I've missed it. I know there were halts on GME. Did they halt AMC at all today? Did it ever happen? Did that ever happen? Ivan says, Mass, you're going to team up with T again. Yeah, I texted him earlier today, actually. And I said during the audio-visual check the other night, I was planning on coming back and talking about AMC. I was planning on coming back talking about the debt and the movies and the strike and everything else. I even have, I'll show you guys. I had like cards made up like this. And you should be able to see it once I take away the chat. Let's see. Yeah, see, I had these made up. I had a whole thing I was going to go through of different things. I guess we could talk about some of them now. Let me know what you guys, I'll put this up on the screen, I guess. And let me know what you're doing. What are you doing tomorrow? Let's just say hypothetically, when the market opens, AMC starts moving. What are you doing tomorrow? Because there's no doubt about it, there could be some consolidation all day tomorrow, right? There's just a lot of things that are hinging on this move one way or the other. Especially, I think the dilution announcement would be a big deal. You're talking about raising a bunch of cash and not having to worry about that in the future, at least for a while. I'm sure at some point, Adam Aron's going to come asking for more shares again. I'm not delusional. But I mean, listen, it's tough right now. Q1's going to be rough. Q4 was not great, right? I mean, we did beat some expectations, and the lineups that are coming up are good. But I mean, we got one Marvel movie, I think, this summer, Wolverine and Deadpool. Last year we had like $3 billion movies in the first 6 months of the year. And I don't know if that's going to happen again this year because of the damn strike. Like that really threw a monkey wrench in our plans for AMC. as far as 2024 goes. Candace says Disney's woke bullcrap. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's been that's been detrimental to AMC, the theaters in general, Hollywood. I don't understand it. I mean, the ESG scores, I mean, okay, fine. And BlackRock and some of these other big, Susquehanna and State Street, I get that they have massive investments in these companies and they own a ton of the stock, right? And so they have a lot of sway as far as what the company is doing. But you are losing your entire fan base on some of these IPs by the minute. I mean, there hasn't been a Lucasfilm production from Disney in the theaters since what, I want to say 2020. They put three movies out that went from 2 billion to 1.5 billion to 1 billion and have not released a movie since. They've gone strictly to streaming, which is also losing them billions of dollars because no one is watching their shows because they're terrible. Because all these writers who just went on strike to ask for raises either can't come up with an original idea or they're rehashing out, old movies and rebranding them in some other way, whether it's, changing the gender or the race or whatever it is. It's getting old. I saw for the first time, I think, that the new Lion King trailer for the Mufasa movie, let me see if it was getting ratioed on YouTube. And they turned the comments off. I'm like, are you really that scared? Do you turn off the comments, Disney? The new project that they have coming out on their streaming service, that's a Lucasfilm production. It's supposed to be like a new Star Wars show that's coming out on June 4th. Got ratioed to hell, like 5-1, dislike to likes. First time in history. But Disney is branding it as a W because it's the most watched trailer that they've ever released for one of their streaming shows. But you're completely missing the whole point that you got absolutely obliterated in the likes to dislikes. Let me see if that trailer is still getting blasted. Oh my God, look at this. Look at this. This is crazy. I mean, how are they bragging about this? Hang on a second. This is nuts. Look at these numbers. So this is the teaser trailer that came out 2 weeks ago. Hold on. It should be coming up on the screen now, I hope. Yeah, look at this. 141,000 upvotes to 397,000 downvotes on a Lion King trailer with 7.6 million views. That does not bode well for Disney or the theaters, which we heavily rely on Disney and their movies. I mean, we have for a while, right? Universal is totally outpacing Disney right now. It's not even close. But that is really disheartening to see that. You got 3-1 ratio on dislikes to likes on a massive production like that, like, a Lion King movie. I don't know what it's going to take for these people to turn it around. I really don't. Watching a bunch of companies in the last couple of weeks go almost bust because of comments on social media and some of the political stances they're taking. It just makes no sense to me. Losing billions and billions of dollars in market cap over a tweet. I mean, use your heads. These are the CEOs, CFOs of companies. They just clearly are not, they don't belong there. I mean, you can't be making mistakes like that. Bud Light still hasn't recovered. Target just put a statement out the other day that they're not doing a children's line of for Pride Month this year. Gorilla Garage says, I'm so tired from work. Massalorian streaming is a good end to my night. That's good, man. Unfortunately, this is my only night off this week, so Although tomorrow night, I will probably be back kind of late, but I do want to get into what I did have planned for tonight. It was a couple fascinating videos that I watched. One that was between, I don't know if any of you guys saw it. There was a debate the other night at Oxford University between Nancy Pelosi and I guess this guy was either the guitarist or the bassist for Mumford & Sons. And he wiped the floor with Nancy Pelosi talking about populism versus democracy. Man, it was something else. And just, for all the stuff that's going on right now in the political world, the persecution going on, and, this whole thing about the election of 2020, Nancy Pelosi was just last week still saying that the election was hijacked in 2016. I mean, it's amazing that you can be that hypocritical and then sit there and say you're fighting for democracy. Chuck, what's going on? Chuck says they didn't cover last time. They haven't covered this time. This is all gamma right now. Vern Dog says, I used to work 6-6, 12-hour shifts, 7 days straight, alternating days and nights, 7 on, 7 off. Jesus. Tossin says, been there, bro. I worked midnights for 10 years. It literally takes years off your life. That's how I feel, bro. I feel like I'm literally dying. That's hilarious. That's how I feel when I get home. I feel half dead. I feel like a vampire, and I should be drinking blood to stay awake. I feel like it's already cut a year off my life. I swear to God, it's so funny you said that. Yeah, Candace, and I am kind of a night person, right? I mean, we did live streams pretty late. And I could get up at 6 a.m. and go to work, no problem. Yeah, but that overnight shit is just, it's another animal. It really is. It's a different animal. So Hadla says, you back in Mass, Rhode Island area. I'm actually up in New Hampshire, so Hadla. So I'm going to be doing some work for a candidate up here who's running for Congress in my district because, honestly, guys, I have really bad thoughts about what's going to happen at the end of this year. And so I'm going to try to do what I can to actually save democracy in this country. But yeah, so I'm going to be doing some political work here, trying to help someone get into Congress. Which would flip this seat from blue to red, in this district at least. Someone who I've met with personally on a couple different occasions, and I'll probably have her on soon, probably before the primaries, to talk about what it was like to live in communist China. And she's a really down-to-earth person who I personally feel would be a good representative, at least for my district, in Congress. So, but again, with Congress, it really is a uniparty at the end of the day. There are very few people in Congress right now who are looking out for their constituents. Even if in their own mind they believe they are not. I saw after Congress approved the FISA warrants so that they can spy on Americans warrantless, without having to get a warrant. There was an interaction between Thomas Massie from Kentucky. Oh, shit. I don't want to blow this. Hang on. I'm going to get you the correct information. Maybe we could even, now I'll save it. I'll save it for later. So we're talking about the market right now in AMC, but I will tell you who the congressman was. Hold on. Let me check here. I should have it saved. I can at least tell you his name. But, out of all the people representing us in DC, Thomas Massie is one guy that 99% of the time, I think he's looking out for his constituents and really all Americans, no matter what party you're in. Let me see if I can find the interaction so I can give you his name. This congressman is, I want to say he's a Republican out of California. And they put an amendment into that FISA bill that if it happens to be one of the 550 or so members of Congress, that the intelligence agencies have to inform them that they're looking at their communications, but only for those 550 some odd representatives and senators and Congress people, which is just amazing that they would have the gall to try to pull that. And I know Tucker Carlson talked about him before. He's a big-time CIA stooge. See if I can find it here. I know I had it in saved videos. I just want to give you his name so I can make sure I out him for the shill that he is. Oh, man, I can't find this video right now. Shit. I don't know where the hell it is. By the way, did anyone see the video the other night from Bernstein there? I think his name is Jeffrey Bernstein. He's one of the political economic advisors to the White House. Try to explain the Federal Reserve and the Treasury and how we print money. In case you haven't seen this yet, I got to put this up so you guys can watch this. This is Biden's chief economic advisor. I just want you to see him explain our monetary policy here in the United States. This should give you a good understanding of how incompetent our government is right now, really. Because it is a sight to behold when you watch this gentleman work. Watch this.
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, I mean, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do? They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds, right? So they sell bonds and people buy the bonds and lend them the money. Yeah. So a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to yeah, I guess I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about. Like, because it's like the government clearly prints money. It does it all the time, and it clearly borrows. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this debt and deficit conversation. So I don't think there's anything confusing there.
That's the chief economic advisor to the White House, Jared Bernstein, who's got a master's in socioeconomics from Columbia University. So if you're wondering why we're having issues right now with inflation, why we can't seem to get anything under control, why the interest rates haven't dropped, why Biden's a no-show when it comes to what's going on in the, with everyday Americans not being able to afford anything. I mean, that's who's advising him. If that doesn't expose how illegitimate these picks are, and it's sad that, I mean, think about it. This is a guy who is supposed to be out there representing the American people when it comes to fiscal policy in the country. And he can't even give you a breakdown of the relationship between the Treasury and the Federal Reserve. Something that basic. Plethora of Blades, what's going on, man? Says, what's up, brother? When did you get back from the West Coast? I've been back here about, I want to say 6 weeks, but I've only had a place for the last three or four. I was kind of bouncing around. It was really difficult to find a place. And I had to try to get some money together. So I had to do some borrowing. And then I had to really work hard to pay that back quickly, because I hate owing. So it just took a little while for me to get this place, and I needed to find, unfortunately, like a 1-bedroom or a studio because of this aspect of my life, right? I wanted to be able to come on and do live streams, and talk with you guys a lot, not just once or twice a week. And so living in Canada and being with someone else in the house, it's very difficult to do that because I'm yelling into a microphone and it's echoing throughout and reverberating through the apartment. And I just knew when I came back, I had to be alone in order to continue to do this. So, but that's a personal decision I made. I could have got a roommate and got a 2-bedroom and saved half the money that I'm spending right now, but I would rather work a little harder, have my privacy, and be able to come on here and, if we want to go till 1 o'clock in the morning, I can do that. I don't have to worry about upsetting anyone or keeping them up. Titan, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Says separate ape altering people's egos. Multicolored dude says, are truly in the end game, or are we just celebrating early again? I'm not out here to celebrate anything, man. I mean, for those people who have made money, I'm very happy for them. I'm certainly not doing any celebrating. Like, I'm glad that the stock moved, and I'm glad we took some profits, and I'm glad we took a bunch of money from the hedge funds. But I would say it's a little premature to say that we should be celebrating right now. Based off everything that we know, especially a lot of us who have been in AMC a long time, who understand, how to read the financials, we're not in the best position right now. As far as, fundamentals go for AMC. And, we have a good movie line coming, and, the strike is over and they're back to work and stuff, but it all takes time for it to work itself out. I mean, they keep pushing back. There's delay after delay after delay. The Blade movie is delayed again. The Snow White movie is delayed again. Again, they're rebranding the Snow White movie. I don't, I'm going to be completely honest. I mean, I don't have but the good part about it is there are other things other opportunities that will arise from the vacuum that is created. Again, I don't think the theaters are going anywhere. I just think there's going to be a shift, a monumental shift. And if there's anything we've proven over the last couple of years is, streaming is going to have an impact, but they are not going to be the death kiss to the theaters. I went to an AMC theater as soon as I got back into the States, to go see Ghostbusters. And I'm in an area that has a rough AMC. I'll be honest. I mean, it's probably one of the ones that will not get redone. I don't know when the lease is up on it. But, a lot of this stuff is only possible because we've been able to improvise over the last year or so. By doing the extra things that have brought in extra money for this company, such as, the concerts last year and the popcorn and retail sales, the candy and all that stuff. I mean, that adaptation is allowing for this momentum play that we have going on right now. And whether this is something more than that, I can't say, right, guys? I don't know. I don't know that. That's how I'm just looking at it right now as a momentum play. And again, my shares that I'm holding, this is not a price target that I was ever thinking we'd be at, that I would be excited about. So to act like I'm excited right now would be disingenuous. I'm still down tons of money. Candace says, unless we run the all-time gamut, we will never break even or any profit. Yeah, which is why, I'm happy, Candace, that people are taking profits right now and making money. Like, if you can get 25, 30, 40% of your money, get it. Right? Get it. Don't let an opportunity pass you by. I was saying earlier in the chat, Candace, or in the live stream when I came on, if, you know, the little money that I do have, if I see some kind of retracement or a pullback or a consolidation, you know, maybe I would risk a little bit of money, but don't risk anything you can't afford right now. Please don't do that. Multi-cool dude 131 says, are we truly in the end game right now? Roaring Kitty is back and things feel a little different. Did definitely. So I will agree with you on that 100%. And this is why I called my dad earlier. With that, I agree with you on multi-cool dude. I really do agree with you. Social media is at a all-time high right now with just the views and who's picking up the stories, who's talking about it. And once some people talk, you know, once you get some of the influencers out there talking about it, that word spreads like wildfire. And it does feel very similar to me as June or January 2021. That I will give you 100%. I do have that feeling. And look, a lot of people who are going to go back and look at AMC are going to see what happened back then and realize the potential for massive gains, right? Just unfortunately for a lot of us, we didn't understand that, well, a lot of things. But again, I wouldn't call it a W. 6-7, what's going on, man? Says, what's up, man? We never gave up. We're still here. Yeah, like I said, it took a little while for me to get on my feet, but I wasn't gonna just simply, you know, sell out my whole portfolio at such a massive loss. I'd rather struggle for a little bit and with the chance that I can recoup some of those losses. Now, if we do have a massive run the next couple of days, I'll have to sell some shares. I mean, there's just no way around that. I cannot hold them forever. We're on 3 years. When did I buy my first shares? March of 2021. So yeah, we just passed the 3-year mark like 2 months ago. I mean, you know, at some point it's time. 1796 Patriot, what's up, man? Good to see you in the chat tonight. There's my boy. Vitaly says, what's up, bro? Where you been? Still holding? Yeah. And I'm probably going to hold tomorrow and the next day and the next day, no matter, I mean, like I said, unless it's a 2021 squeeze, there's no sense right now of me selling anything. Now, if I'm going to swing it, that's a different story. And I've been trying to just say, in my viewpoint, that's what I would be looking for. A point to get back in and out with new shares, not my shares that I'm down massively in right now. That would feel like a huge fold on my part. Cracker Max says, if it continues to rise, AA will probably pull the rug and reverse split. It'll be a while before I think that will happen. But on the other hand, if he does make an announcement that they sold the rest of their shares onto the market, raised a bunch of capital, and they're done with dilution, that could have definitely an impact on, you know, people's feelings about AMC right now. And knowing that we're coming into the summer movie season, knowing the strike's over now, you know, there are some positives that we can get into. You know, just do the negatives outweigh? And in that sense, it doesn't really matter with momentum play. As my dad said, are people still going to the movies? Don't think about it fundamentally, right? Don't think about any of that. Think about making some money for yourself. And obviously, people are buying and selling. There were 460 million shares traded today. So, yeah, 460 million. And 160 million of GameStop. Yeah, so I guess so looking at it when you know, my dad was asking me GameStop or AMC. Again, I'll go back to that same point earlier. So there was 161 of GameStop traded today and almost 3 times out of AMC, right? If you were looking to get in right now, hoping to capitalize on a momentum trade or a swing trade, you're going to get 4 or 5 times the amount of shares of AMC than you could for GME. And again, I have nothing against GME. I own GME. I'm just talking about that's how I was looking at it back in January of 2021. I was like, okay, well, I can get 5 shares of AMC right now for the price it would cost me to get 1 share of GameStop. Vitaly says we're not even close to all-time highs on both. Vitaly, we're not even sniffing it. Like I said, I am extremely thrilled for people who made money. But a lot of us who've been in this 3 years who didn't sell before the reverse split, you know, if today never happened, it would make no difference. Doc says, still got that toothpick. I do. I still got toothpicks. Been carrying these around all over the country, up north. Same jar. Doc says, no halts on AMC. Hillsy says, break that wheel. Candace says, yeah, Tony had, yeah, I did. I texted Tony right when I got up. I got up about an hour before my interview today because I'll be honest, I didn't sleep Saturday. I was too wound up when I got home. So I had gone a work shift and the whole day, then another work shift. So by the time I got home this morning, I was wiped. So I slept for about 5 hours. And as soon as I got up, I turned the computer on. I texted Tony and said, what the F's going on with the meme stocks? I wasn't expecting AMC to completely mirror GME today. Like I thought that maybe, you know, Roaring Kitty coming back would be, and then once I went on to the computer and social media, I'm like, whoa, the Tate brothers are talking about it. Tim Pool's making videos about it. I'm like, this is starting to feel like June 2021, January 2021 again. It definitely has that vibe to it. But again, do not get overhyped. Don't get overexcited. Don't let me steer you in any direction one way or the other. Siren Muscle says AA is going to F things up. I mean, I would assume that they spent a day selling shares today, hopefully in increments on the way up. I just don't know I don't know what that, and I mean, you would think that announcement would be good news, right? To shoot the price in the upwards direction, but I can't guarantee that. I don't even know if they sold any shares today. Hillsy says, I'm so sleepy. I'm one eye in this chat. Yeah, this morning I was literally falling asleep at the computer, just trying to set up that Zoom call. I forget what I did. At one point, I started typing something, and it was what I was thinking about. I think I was like half dreaming, and when I woke up, I was actually typing it out into the computer. I'm like, all right, that's it. I gotta go to bed. Time to go to bed. Shark Attack says hodling both 3+ years. Green and GME after today. Still hodling. Nice. That's another thing, right? Some people who have been able to average down and get their cost average back to something normal, who got in way high back in June 2021 or after the original run up, have been able to get their cost average down and, you know, are maybe going green. So those people too, I'm so happy for them. UX says, I'm holding till 100, and then I might let a few shares go. But at this point, I'm not about to sell early until this play is fully out. Yeah, I know, UX. Yeah, I know exactly how you feel, which is, it was hard for me to get so hyped up today. I mean, it was nice to see my portfolio double, or like I said, a little more than that, so I can get a couch. But yeah, it's hard. Yeah, Six Sun. Yep. Yeah, I'm doing freight. Yep. Trey says the shorts never covered. Hillsy, have a good night, man. Thank you. Good to be back. Good to be back. Good to see you. Gorilla Grod says AMC, GME, meme stocks are a once in a lifetime opportunity, in my opinion. Shit like this doesn't happen often. If we stay on point, stay focused, stay strong, we will succeed. I'm interested to see what's going to happen tomorrow. I really am. I just don't know. I'm wondering why we haven't heard anything from Aron. Maybe we won't hear anything till tomorrow, or maybe the next day. I don't know how long he's going to wait to make an announcement. That's even if they did, you know, complete the sales, but I would assume that they did. That would just be nice to know, just in general, going forward, to know that's not going to just spring up again from, you know, out of nowhere. And that might make some people feel more comfortable about reopening a position, right? If there is some type of retracement or whatever the case may be. I wish I had the answers for you guys to let you know how this is going to go down, but anything could happen tomorrow. I mean, would you have thought today in after hours we were going to run another, what was the final number? 23% in after hours. I would have said that's probably crazy. But here we are. I mean, yeah, we're up over 100% on the day. That's incredible. Man, the shorts must have really fucking screwed. Jesus Christ. Like, how bad were they in it to have dropped 1.5 billion? I mean, according to, FinTel, it's only at 24% short interest. I don't understand. I just don't trust any of this anymore. I mean, look, there's definitely ways you can make money, but you got to be on top of your shit. You got to be constantly keeping up and on top of it. And if you don't have the time for that, buy some blue chips and sit back and keep them in your back pocket. Although, again, with everything I'm seeing, especially what the IMF just said, I wonder if I have this still saved, the PDF file. Let me see if this is it. I did download it the other day. Nope, this ain't it. Hold on. This might be it. Oh, yeah, here it is. Here it is. I just want to show you guys this real quick. Okay, this is, you should be seeing it up on the screen. The executive summary from the IMF. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. Okay. Enhance. All right. So this is the fiscal policy in the great election year. I think this was from last month. This just came out the end of April, I believe. It says, even as the economic and financial outlook for the global economy is stabilizing, efforts to normalize fiscal policy continue to struggle with the legacies of high debt and deficits while facing new challenges. After a brisk reduction in fiscal deficits and public debt levels in 21-22, fiscal aggregates turned in 2023, halting progress towards policy normalization. Durable fiscal consolidation efforts are needed to safeguard sustainable public finances and rebuild buffers in a context of slowing medium-term growth prospects and high real interest rates. Fiscal tightening would also support the last mile of disinflation, especially in overheated economies. Where's the next point here? In 2024, overall primary deficits are expected to narrow to 4.9% of GDP. However, substantial risks to public finances remain, and resuming fiscal policy normalization will require significant efforts against several headwinds. The risk of fiscal slippages are particularly acute given that 2024 is what is being called the Great Election Year. 88 economies or economic areas representing more than half of the world's population and GDP have already held or will hold elections during the year. Support for increased government spending has grown across the political spectrum over the past several decades, making this year especially challenging as empirical evidence shows that fiscal policy tends to be looser and slippages larger during election years. Down the bottom, he says, where sovereign risks are elevated and a credible medium-time framework is lacking, crisis-era support measures should be immediately terminated, and the political budget cycle and the drive to further increase spending should be restricted. Reforms are needed to contain rising spending pressures, for instance, through entitlement reforms in advanced economies with aging populations and improving the targeting and efficiency of social safety nets to support the most vulnerable populations. They go on and talk about innovation in tech and how AI is going to save us. And I'm not counting on any of this. And when you add in all of the pressure that's being put right now on all of the social systems in this country, whether it be the education system, the healthcare system. I mean, we got some uppity visitors who have come in the last couple of years. I mean, I don't know what they came in expecting. Like, we're all busting our ass over here, to try to cut out a living for ourselves. And when I hear people on the news complaining that they're not happy with the food or they don't want a curfew, it literally infuriates me. I took a ride the other day in an Uber, and the gentleman who was driving me, somehow we got into talking about the state taxes in Massachusetts. And I told him this is another thing that happened to me in the last couple of weeks. I got audited. So my tax return actually turned into me owing them money from 2018 or something wild. Actually, I got the fucker right here. I'm actually going to make a video on this tomorrow, because I'm going to call the Massachusetts Department of Revenue and give them a piece of my mind. But yeah. So what I initially thought was going to be a return of several $100 was actually a net O of $304. And I said to the driver, it kind of aggravates me that, on this piece of paper here, they have all these little notifications like, hey, don't forget that this money is going to building roads and schools and for public safety for your community. And it's hard for me to take that when I know that all those things are getting slashed right now. So me forking this money over to you is actually not going towards these things. And he was like, yeah, he's like, the governor just made an announcement that they're going to be cutting some gross amount of money that they were giving towards the cancer research, some of the cancer research funds at the city hospitals here, a cancer that his kid has, and they're slashing that spending to put towards housing the migrants. And I'm like, you know what? I did not sign up for this. I did not approve any of this. And when you sit there and lie to me and tell me that this is going to go towards fixing the roads, and I just, we got a flat tire on the way over from a massive sinkhole in the middle of a major highway. It really irks me. Which is, I was kind of in a rush to get back on here because I realized in my own mind, I'm like, you know what? If I don't get on here and start making videos, they will radicalize me. I would become a radical. Like, you need an outlet. But getting back to the IMF thing. Sorry, I kind of went off tangent there. But, for everyone saying that this is not going to be a big deal, that this globalization and what's going on in the Middle East with the war and Russia's ability to circumnavigate these sanctions and just sell their oil cheaper to China and cheaper to India, and the war still dragging on. And the craziest thing the other day was seeing the Congress people rushing in at midnight to sign off on this $60 billion bill, and start waving another country's flag in the Capitol building. I'm like, I was like, am I in some kind of fucking, what is going on here? What country would you ever see half of the, parliamentary body waving at midnight on a Sunday, waving another country's flag in the Capitol building? Something else, man. Flip season, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Michael, what's going on, man? Good to see you too. Good to see you too. Caleb says the drive home is when I get scared. Trying to stay awake, Caleb? Walk. That's probably another reason why I can't fall asleep right when I get home. Because my heart rate's so fired up from walking. It's like 3.5 miles. But it's good exercise, I think. It's probably keep me young since I'm dying while I'm at work. Doxino says, don't worry, Mass, but the country things will just get worse. I know. Gorilla Grad says, Mass, so many production companies are fucking themselves out of business. Losing $300 million on a movie is huge. If you lost your company even $1 million, I know. And that's the thing, right? No one's getting fired. I mean, look at what's happened with Lucasfilm, and Kathleen Kennedy's still the head of that. I don't know how, but somehow she still has a job there. And, you know, you're talking about billions of dollars in revenue that are just wasting away right now that could be going towards AMC, towards the theaters, because either the people have a political agenda or they're incompetent and they're a DEI hire. Like, this is not going to end well for these companies. People are only going to take so much of, you know, oh, well, they're trying, or it's something new, or people know what they want. They know what they like. You know, a lot of people aren't big on huge change to stories and characters and all that stuff. I don't know why they think this is a correct business model, but yeah, Gorilla Grad, you're right. If we even lost $1 million of a $300 million, our ass would be fired. And these people are losing billions upon billions, you know, being roasted on a whole 2-hour episode of South Park and keeping their jobs and continuing to put out the same shit. Which is, you know, it's some of the reasons why I'm having, you know, problems with any faith right now in a lot of companies. If I was to start, let's just say I was going to start investing in them, especially something like Disney, I have no faith that they can actually turn it around. Candace says, I don't recognize this country anymore. It's devastating. I mean, the weirdest thing was seeing the flags waving. And then at college campuses, seeing the Palestinian flags going up, that would not have flown 20 years ago. Your ass would be getting a beating. I mean, if you really want to fly the Palestinian flag, you should go to Gaza and fly it there. Gorilla God says, Massalorian doing the Lord's work, trying to save the country. Dude, we gotta start thinking serious about that, because it is falling through our grips right now. And I don't want to be looked at as the generation who lost the country because we were too busy fucking on our iPhones. You know, I mean, I don't have kids right now, but if I did, and, you know, if there's a possibility that I might still have them in the future, I can't just sit back and do nothing. Shaka Tech says, Massey is a good dude. He loaned us some tools when we were building our cabin. I grew up beside his family. Oh, really, Shaka Tech? You know him personally? Yeah, there's very few America First politicians, though. Basically none on the left at all. Zero. I just saw last night Massey got into it with someone. Hang on. This I might have. Because I think that was just last night I watched it. It's amazing the way these snakes talk sometimes. I think I might be able to find it real quick. Hold on. This was between Massey and Nadler. I'm sure a lot of you guys know who Nadler is. Looks like a Oompa Loompa from New York. This is funny. Watch this. Hang on. Okay.
The Second Amendment reads, quote, a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state, comma, the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. It is clearly a right. The founding fathers, the framers, were opposed to standing armies. They thought that those were instruments of tyranny and that militia is what should be had. And the Second Amendment was a guarantee, was framed as a guarantee that you could have a militia, a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state. And that was its understanding for 200 years until the radical Supreme Court in the Heller decision upended 200 years of constitutional interpretation and said that the Second Amendment has nothing to do with militias. It's a personal and basically unlimited right. The Supreme Court was wrong in that decision.
Happy to yield the gentleman from Kentucky.
Apologies to Ranking Member Nadler if this isn't what he stated, but I think he might have left out some key words when he read the Second Amendment. I'll read it here. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And I'm not sure if I heard him say the people, which applies to all of the people, as we well know. And I yield back.
People are evil, man. Gorilla Garage says this hurt to watch these people run our country. Harry Parrott, what's going on, man? Good to see you in the chat. Kyle J, what's up, brother? Good to see you as well. Thanks, Gorilla God. I try, man. When will real reporting? I mean, I was thinking about going down to the protests at well, because they had some at Northeastern and MIT, and I was like, you know what? If I get on there, I'm probably gonna get fired up and get into a beef with someone. I need to wait till I get myself in a good headspace before I go confronting protesters. But soon. I'm settled now. I got my place. Yeah, I'm just waiting on one thing, this job possibility that I just got way farther than I ever thought I would. And you know, I'm not getting too excited because it's very possible that I will not get the job. But yeah, very soon. I mean, we got 6 months till the election, right? I'm going to be doing some work with, like I said, someone here running for Congress. And with that will come some street reporting. I'm going to get back into it. I had to get caught up on my financial responsibilities, and that will give me some breathing room to go out and do stuff. So it's coming. Don't worry. It's coming. Soda Kitty Blue says, I haven't seen a Massalorian video since last year. Did he just say he was in Canada? I missed a lot. Yes, I was, but I'm back. I am back now, Soda Kitty. Yeah, that's been a while then, because it's been a while since I left for Canada. Yes. Massey says, I read it like you was walking Massalorian. My bad. It's all good. What's up, Jody Pages? How are you tonight? Michael says, smash that like button for Mass. Yeah, if you guys remember to smash it. Broke Ape, what's up, my man? How you doing tonight? Good to see you in the chat. I'm not distracted, Jody. Candace says, I'm surprised that as well as the concerts did, that there haven't been more set up yet. Yeah, I know. I am too, kind of. I thought that we were going to see a lot more artists this year get signed up for them, but maybe this summer, maybe stuff in the works. I remember last year that Aron put a tweet out talking about that they had gotten or they were looking for a patent for AMC distribution. So I'm assuming they have other things up their sleeves. And what would be really good is if they could start doing their own production work. Like if they could get filmmakers in there with scripts, or, to start proposing that could be some good ways to spend our money to bring in more profit, right? Distributing to other theaters. I mean, the potential is there to make more money for the company. Cancel Bubba says, good to see you back. Good to see you too, man. It's good to be back. It really feels like forever that I haven't done like a full live stream, because it has been. It's been about, I don't know, 3 months. When did I leave Canada? Yeah, it's been a while. Candace AA said during the earnings call that all the big names are on the board for their concert series. Yeah, that's what I remember, Broke. That's what I thought he said, that, we got all kinds of artists lined up. So maybe it's going to be a summertime thing. Maybe it just hasn't been announced yet. Maybe they're waiting for that patent to come back. I don't know. But the sooner the better. I felt like for some weird reason, since we've been in this AMC play, that 2022 felt like the best movie schedule we had. Like, I feel like that was the best one we've seen so far. But I know 25 and 26 line up really good. But again, when we're talking about this run we had in the last 24 hours, this is an in and out play for people. And that's exactly what I was trying to explain to my father. Like, don't think about the fundamentals of the company. Don't think about the future of the movie theaters. Think about making a profit and taking it. Harry Parrott says, since you're finally back, let's get into some real news. Bro, it's been one night and we just had a 100% run today on AMC. If I start getting into like real politics, I was going to say, I was like planning on tonight doing something totally different. I was going to talk about Bukele and get deeper into the IMF thing and what he said. This is the most fucked up thing. So because Bernstein can't explain what his job is or how the government, the Treasury and the Federal Reserve work together, I saw that about 2 months ago, Bukele, the president of El Salvador, gave a speech at CPAC talking about it. And that's what I was going to base the live stream off tonight. But because of what happened in the markets, I totally just changed it. And I'm like, listen, there's going to be a lot of people who made money today, a lot of people who are going to be in a good mood. I can't go on and start talking about, what the IMF is warning about and the de-dollarization and, why the president of El Salvador knows more about our economy than the senior advisor of the president. So we will, though. Don't worry. Like I said, tomorrow night is going to be a late night. But once I'm done with what I got to do tomorrow night, we'll go live. And I have all that stuff already ready to go, all loaded up. So we'll get into some of that stuff. The geopolitical implications of, the sanctions on Russia right now, the war continuing, and even like I saw yesterday that Mitch McConnell was on with, or maybe it was Sunday, which was yesterday. Yeah, Meet the Press, and they were talking about the $60 billion we just gave to Ukraine might not be enough. Like, at what point are we going to say, all right, the spigot has been shut off, no more, and just force Zelensky to peace talks? All we are doing is dragging this out and getting more Ukrainians and Russians killed. I don't understand how the powers that be do not see that. Gary, what's going on, man? He says, what's up, Mass? I haven't sold in 2 years. Gary, good to see you. It's been 3 for me, bro. Which is why it was so hard getting excited today. I was more excited about my interview. Honestly, for a lot of us, this wasn't a huge move, Lynn says, okay, you can say it. Okay, manipulation. There, I said it. Floyd, what's up, man? How you doing, brother? Good to see you too. Joe says, where does all this split talk come from? We already split. Just FUD. Are people already talking about splits again? I'm just thinking that we're going to hear about dilution, Joe, in the next couple of days. I haven't really heard much split talk, but then again, I haven't been all over social media for the last couple hours. I was earlier in the day. Like I said, I saw that Tim Pool and Andrew Tate and all of them were talking about it. Doug says, welcome back. Doug, good to be back, man. Thank you. Good to see you in the chat. Brocape says GME is $40 overnight trading. So it made another move? Because I think last time we looked at it. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's rich. GME is rich for my blood right now. I wish I had that kind of money to throw around. Joe says they still have tons of shares to dump. Talk another split is crazy. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the number was. I want to say Aron had like at least over 100 million shares. I'm pretty sure. I think. It says just sit back, hold, and let the Lord use you like a violin. Fee Jake says, what's up, Mass? Where have you been? Fee Jake, I've been fucking working, man. Working hard and paying bills. Catching up on debt. I've been trying to get back on my feet, man, since I got back from Canada. And I'm finally caught up. I got all the equipment set up. And this is like just a total coincidence that tonight was going to be like my first long live stream that AMC did 100% run. Like something to do with it, but it's just true. That would be a lie. Carl says, just a damn good day. Harry Parrott says, just a fun fact on Jared Bernstein. He follows the modern monetary theory, which means spend your way out of an economic downturn and make the printer go brrr. When Bukele explains it, and I'll play the video tomorrow night. When Bukele explains it, it's extremely disturbing when you actually think about what he's saying. Just the way he phrases the whole argument. And I mean, when you hear it from him like that, you realize how fragile the whole system is, you know, internationally. Because if the dollar goes, that would have massive ripple effects across almost every economy in the world. Soda Kitty, thank you for the super chat, man. I can't believe it's been a year since you've seen me on live stream. Gorilla God says, got a bunch of clowns who have no business spending money running this country. Yeah, I mean, if you just go through the entire administration, I mean, it's all people who just really don't belong in their jobs. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Like actually one person. And some of them actually are in opposition with their ideologies than what they're supposed to be doing. For instance, Holland there, Deb Holland, the first, Native American woman to be a cabinet member, is shutting down all left and right, all kinds of drilling contracts. And it's like, no, you're supposed to be the person there to oversee that it's done right and granting the contracts. But I saw her in front of Congress the other day, basically perjuring herself, saying she had no idea that they were getting some funding from some NGO that was about green energy, and that she didn't know about the emails. I mean, it's just, there's just some crazy stuff going on right now. People are just lying left and right in front of Congress, or they don't answer the questions. There is zero accountability. And it's not just happening here. Like, look across all Western democracies right now, whether it's Ireland, Germany, the Netherlands. They are just completely fucking up everyone's home countries. They have no regard for what their own constituents want. Zero. especially in Ireland. It's like really bad right now. I felt bad for the people of Ireland because they have absolutely no say about what's going on in the government. They're completely captured by a bunch of global elitists that are running their whole place right now. And they're just finally taking the streets now to try to do something about it. But it's already a shit show there. Floyd says, you think AA would wait for the squeeze to sell, not $6 or $10? I think, though, Floyd, they need cash right now. Floyd says, let's hope AA doesn't speak at all. The only thing I want to hear out of AA's mouth is we're done with dilution for the year. Stout says, what's up? Stout, how you doing tonight, man? Good to see you. Harry Parrott says the IMF and Rothschild's Bank and Trust. Yeah, so it's not a conspiracy theory anymore, right, Harry Parrott? Now that it's in their official economic forecast. But can you imagine if we had to go through another 4 years of this administration, the incompetence? What would the country look like in 2028? It would be unrecognizable if it already isn't now. Gorilla God says, Mass, can we get a Rebel Moon review? Bro, I would not waste my time. I've watched Critical Drinkers review on it. Just one scene that they broke down. I guess it was in the beginning. I want to say of part 2. Where they bring the king and queen into some like boiler room, and there's a huge shootout, and she ends up killing everyone in the room, but the band in the background keeps playing music. I watched the breakdown of the scene, and I was like, oh my God, this is what. Thank God he didn't get to direct a Star Wars film. Not that we've gotten anything good anyways, but. San Diego Laundromat says, hey, Mass, you on the West Coast now. Wishing you luck with your new employment opportunities. Thank you, man. Oh, thank you. No, I'm back on the East Coast. I'm up in New England. I was staying earlier to a lot of the people in the chat right now. I came back to do a couple things. One, to pursue this job, but also to help a woman up here who's running for Congress in District 2. So the woman who just said she wasn't running for re-election in District 2 is... She just made the announcement a couple weeks ago, actually, I think. Her name's Ann Custer. She is a Dem out of DNH 2nd District. She's been in that seat since 2013. So it's been blue since 2013. And then the rep in District 1 is also a Democrat. Yeah, so the primaries are in September. So I'm going to help this woman try to take that seat and turn it red. Because literally, I think the country depends on it. I'm not going to say democracy because that's a it's a left-leaning talking point, but Aaron Salatine says, I'm buying BlackBerry AA. I don't want to be diluted as the stock is screaming up on AMC. Harry says, in short, the IMF will choke the debtor nations and allow corporations to gobble up those countries' resources. And now for the local weather. Well, if you read their forecast, that's what it sounds like. Yeah, they could put a stranglehold on you quickly, huh? They got their fingers on a lot of pies right now. I feel like this is like the quiet before the storm. It feels uneasily quiet right now, honestly. Because when I really sit back and think about it, what was happening on the campuses last week or the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, was a very small minority of, I mean, if you think about the overall population or number of students in college, I think I heard the figures like, 3 million or something like that. And there was only a couple thousand arrests. They ended up finding out a lot of people who were on the campuses didn't even go to school there. They were being funded by, all of our buddies there, Soros and his NGOs. Same people who are funding the border, same people who are funding all this shit. Some of it was grassroots, and some of it was caused by these college campuses and, what they are teaching. I mean, just go and look at some of the courses that are happening there and the rhetoric that some of the professors are using. In 22, 23 years ago, when I was going to college, there was nothing even close to that. Maybe it was starting to creep in a little bit. There were some, wokey woke classes you could take, but nothing like today. They have just infiltrated the entire education system, higher education system. They are all, I think the number is like 90% are left-leaning as far as college campus professors go. So you created these monsters. CeeLo says, well, long time no see, Mass. CeeLo, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Dream of stuff. Personally, I think this squeeze ends by Wednesday. I hope people don't fuck. Honestly, I am only 100 shares in AMC and less for GME. Not much for me, but I wish you all the best luck in. Yeah, me too. I wish all of you guys too the best. Just, you guys have been in this, most of you, long enough to know how this game works. I mean, the only thing that possibly could be different this time is there's some type of MOAS, right? Where this just continues on and gets completely out of control. Other than that, at some point, people are going to sell and the price is going to come down. There will be bag holders and there will be winners and there will be losers. $17.96 Patriot says, did you thank Biden for that audit? No. This was Massachusetts. That was our wonderful governor. So what I'm going to do, I think, tomorrow is I'm just going to give them a call and say, I'm sitting at my desk right now writing you out the check. I have a notice to collect a tax debt. And I notice here on the receipt you want me to send back, it says paying taxes means money for roads, schools, and public safety in your community. Can you just give me something in writing that says this will not be used for migrant housing or food, since they're so uppity and complaining about it? And it will go towards either a park, a road, or a school, or community safety. And I'd be happy to send a check, but I would need something from you in writing first and see how that conversation goes and record it and let all you guys hear it. See what they say. Carl J says, how is some homeless? Not migrants. I have never seen more uppity migrants in my life. The shit they're asking for is wild. In New York a couple weeks ago, there was a woman from somewhere in West Africa that went in front of the city council who spoke like some different type of dialect of somewhat West African native tongue. And she was complaining that they didn't have enough translators. And that this now, hold on. Before I finish this, let's just make sure we understand who we're talking about here when we talk about the city council in New York. See if I can get a picture of them. Okay, let me see if I can just pull this down and drop it onto Restream. Okay. So she told Is it coming up on the screen? She called this body of people. She said that this body of people, the city council members, that she didn't know before she came to New York, that they were all a bunch of racists. That's what she said to the city council members. Now, if you can't tell, it looks like a pretty diverse group of people, right? Pretty diverse body. I mean, you see a few white people mixed in there with some Spanish people, looks like. I never in my life. Yeah, the complaining has just gone into a completely different level. Gorilla Grodd says Massalorian spitting facts. I mean, man, I saw it when I went across the country. It's in every major city. Every major city. It's crazy to me that instead of doing what we should be doing, which is, putting programs out there to help people who are having drug issues, we are funding, clean injection sites, and they're fighting all the way up to the Supreme Court to let people defecate on the public streets. I actually heard that argument made before the Supreme Court the other day. They were saying that was, a necessary, I forget what the term was that they used. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer. But they said that was some, a right that couldn't be taken away from any individual, which also was the argument was you had the right to be homeless. Sure, but you don't have the right to set up a tent in front of someone's business and make them go under because no one wants to step over you while they're going shopping. Devil May Rage, what's going on, man? He says, is it a coincidence that the Biden administration is focusing on taxing? That just popped up in the last, I want to say a week or two, they made that announcement. That is a good point, Devil May Rage. I have to hand that to you. Great point. That just dawned on me that did happen. Hey, Tony D. He says, I'm not effing leaving. Yeah, Tony did a crazy long live stream today. Crazy long. How long were you on for, Tony? Like, forever. But Devil May Rage, that is a great point that he just did make that announcement that they were talking about focusing on taxing unrealized gains recently. I forgot about that. It's an interesting theory. We could throw that around. To 46%. Imagine. Hey, Pocus, how you doing tonight? Good to see you, my friend. Tish S says, so nice to have you back, Mass. Tish, it's good to be back. I'm trying to get back in a groove. For now, at least on Mondays and Tuesdays, we'll be doing live streams for sure. I'm going to try to see if I can get something set up so I can possibly get to work quicker. So at least maybe one other night or two other nights a week, I'll be able to do maybe an hour live stream just to go over some news, but like real current stuff. Like I don't want to go back. I'm talking about a lot of stuff's already happened in the past because I haven't been able to catch up with you guys, but like real current stuff. Well, I am working on doing that. But it's good to see you, Tesh. Thank you. Harry Pez says, Master, this whole situation from the playbook of the Color Revolution brought to you by George Soros. By the way, Harry Pez, I was just about to, on Friday, watch, I guess who is the platform? There's a George Soros documentary, I guess, that tries to paint him as like a good guy. That's big in my documentary, by the way. I'll definitely be getting the anti-Semite thing thrown at me from time to time after people see it. Mike says, oh my G, Mass. Mike, what's up, man? Good to see you, brother. Yeah, the Soros thing. I don't understand. No other country would let someone manipulate their judicial systems like he does. I don't understand why we even allow that. Some of the things that we, allow and don't allow people to do. It really is seeming like the world right now is down is up, backwards is forwards, left is right, black is white. Everything you thought that you'd probably never see again is rearing its ugly head, which is just, it's kind of sad. Man, a lot of OGs in here tonight. Harry says, go look and see who are the largest donators to your congressmen and women's campaigns. It tells you who they are loyal to. And Harry, I didn't understand before I started doing the documentary. I didn't really know too much about AIPAC and some of that stuff. I didn't realize how heavily influenced our Congress people are by what's going on in another country. And clearly that must go for Ukraine too, especially after seeing the other day that fiasco with the flag flying. I mean, they wouldn't even clap when Trump made the announcement during a State of the Union address that black employment was at an all-time high. The Democrats wouldn't even clap for that, but they'll stand up at midnight on a Sunday after passing $60 billion, waving Ukrainian flags. I mean, just think about that for a second. Siren Muscle says, Nads Mr. Poopy Pants. And another thing that's crazy right now, the way they are portraying Stormy Daniels in the mainstream media is something to behold. I heard, who was it the other day? God damn. Who was it? Lawrence there on MSNBC was describing Stormy Daniels in court, and it sounded like something out of Shakespeare. The way he made her appearance sound. I think he called her nun-like, I want to say. And then, hold on. I shouldn't get too much into that. I don't want to berate women right now. But Bill Maher did call her out the other day. From her story that she told him in 2018 to what she's saying now in the courtroom is completely different. Another thing that's been blowing my mind is how all these cases against Trump are falling apart. It's crazy to see some of the stuff that's happening with the Jack Smith case, that they were basically forcing these documents onto the Trump transition team because, they had to redact everything now that the judge redacted all of the government paperwork. So now we can see what happened on a timeline of how everything went down. And then Jack Smith getting up and admitting that they staged the photographs at Mar-a-Lago. So like in every case that they brought against him, every different suit in these counties, they're all blown up in their faces. Every single one of them, whether it's Stormy Daniels' testimony, whether it's Fani Willis having an affair with the prosecutor and then lying about it on the stand, Jack Smith with staging the photographs, and what's the other one? But it's like at every turn, this is somehow backfiring on the people going after him. And he's getting all kinds of like free campaigning out of it. I mean, but someone said that he had not a fundraiser, but something at the Jersey Shore the other day, and like 100,000 people showed up from New Jersey to a Trump rally. Can you imagine Biden going anywhere in the world and 10,000 people showing up? That's why I feel like this is the calm before the storm. I see panic. I see panic in the mainstream media, whether it's the ladies on The View every day freaking out. at the MSNBC talking heads, whether it's CNN, all these people are having a meltdown left and right. James Carville the other day, who actually went on and did a rant saying he was making fun of Gen Z, saying that literally mouthing and voicing their disgust with the government, not doing any of the things that they care about, and then telling them to go back out and vote for this administration that will not listen to what they want, what their concerns are, because you should be afraid of Trump and my democracy. Harry Parrott says, go to MIT, protest, and sneak in the CIA facility. I thought about that, but I wouldn't be able to pull off the disguise at MIT. Gorilla God says, I've got no proof, but I'm positive Soros collides with the IMF to fuck over countries. He did it to England, man. He almost put the Bank of England under Soros, the British pound. I think it dropped 70% in a couple of days, Gorilla God, back in the 80s, I want to say. That's why we made all his money. Mike says, just wave an American flag on any local corner. Yeah, and people will spit on you. It's disgusting. Lynn says, yeah, Tony DeNaro, some great memories with you both together. Yeah, we'll be doing a live stream. Don't worry. I said on the AV check on Friday night I was going to reach out to Tony. It just happened that this went down today, and I had a totally different live stream set up. And so at the last minute, I had to go in and make all these adjustments and go check my information and make sure I knew what I was talking about. I also wanted to see put some feelers out there to how's the reaction on social media going? Is this feeling similar to 2021, or is this something totally different? Tish says Biden is lining his pockets with Ukrainian money. Their family is. I don't know if Biden has any clue what is going on at any time during the day. But they're certainly making some money from it. Right, Lynn? Yeah, for some reason, though, it felt like this last time around when they were trying to get this money, the $60 billion. I don't know. To me, personally, it felt like their tone sounded like this was going to be it. This would be enough to keep them going through the year. Again, no, but when you think about the wording, so again, what's the end game? What do you mean keep them going through the year? And why? Someone's got to explain this to me. If I keep hearing from everyone, whether it's on the right or the left-hand side of the aisle, Lindsey Graham or Hakeem Jeffries or whoever it is, I keep hearing over and over again that Putin, if we don't stop him, he's just going to roll right over Europe, through Poland, and all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. If that's the case, how is it possible that Ukraine has been holding him at the Donbass line for the last 3 years? So we're supposed to believe after 3 years of this bitter war of attrition with Ukraine that he's just going to all of a sudden stand up and with that same army roll over 14, 15 more NATO countries? Because I keep hearing that as the explanation for why we need to keep funding the war. Well, if we don't, we'll be sending American soldiers over there, and Putin will just roll right into Poland, and then it will Article 5 will be initiated, and then we'll have to send Americans over there. But if I'm to believe that, then I'm also having to believe that that same Russian army right now can't break through the Donbass region and defeat the Ukrainians. So how could they possibly be expected to roll over the rest of NATO? Dirtbread Shades, what's going on, man? Ken Dawson, how you doing today? It says politicians making money off of war. Unfortunately. Pocus says, bring me my money. Harry says it's not about the economy. This whole situation goes back to any country who had a Fed banking system run by the Rothschilds. They gut the system economically and pass around the spoils. Harry says we can take our country back. 1776 2.0. Yeah, hopefully it's going to be peaceful, though. I mean, I really don't. I'm not looking for. When I say in the beginning, I don't condone violence towards a revolution or civil war. I mean that. I really. I mean, and no one else should want that either, because that would not be a fun thing. That would be a very ugly time. What was JFK? What was JFK? Was it JFK's quote about Second Civil War, or let me look this up real quick. I just saw it, I think yesterday. It might have been Ulysses S. Grant, not JFK. Hang on. And that's a big difference between years of presidency. So I don't want to mess this up. What did he say? I think it was Grant talking about the next Civil War, and somehow he nailed it. Oh yeah. It was Ulysses S. Grant. Grant said, if we are to have another civil war, I predict that the dividing line will not be Mason and Dixon's, but between patriotism and intelligence on the one side, and superstition, ambition, and ignorance on the other. That sounds like what's going on right now, pretty much. If I had to define the two sides, sounds about right. Lynn says, Bigham said dilution may be over with, if I heard him correctly. Did Adam Aron tweet something, or maybe who's the other guy there? Goodwin? Has anybody seen anything on Twitter? Let me check. I'll break it down. Nope, not yet. No, nothing yet. He hasn't posted, looks like, in about a week. Although it does look like, yeah, someone was asking earlier about the next concert series. It looks like Billie Eilish is it. AMC Theaters and Apple Music. So for whoever is asking. All right, guys, give me 1 second. I got to run to the bathroom really quick. I will be back in 2 seconds. All right. We're good. We're good. Carl J says Rebel Moon was garbage. Massive, if you're going to help someone run, look into the Dems running and look at who funds their campaigns. It tells you who owns them. Harry, you don't think I'd be trying to help a Democrat win a seat in my district, right? Tish says anti-Semitism 101. She's got a tough opponent she's running against, though, in the Democratic Party. But I think now that Kuster's out, she's got a much better shot this time around. And she's definitely an America First. She would be that type of person in Congress. Slick Rick says to Zelensky, Tony says, Mass, they will send you a photo of the pothole. Tony says, Mass, they will send you a photo of the pothole you adopted along with monthly updates of how it's doing. That's what I should say, right? And I want, that's even better, T. I should write that down. And I'd like updates from exactly when it's filled. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to embellish it a little bit just for video content. But the argument I'm going to make is pretty solid. Like, you're literally saying on the piece I'm sending back to you with the check that this is going to go somewhere when now I know it's not. Yeah, that was a shitty swing, though, for me. To go thinking I was getting money back to having to owe. Which, in turn, helped me to read all the fine print that I've never looked at before. Which is when I realized, wait a second. They're slashing all of this stuff for the budgets for all of these things that they're claiming they're going to use this money for. And I know exactly where it is going. I don't know if I ever signed off or approved of that. And you're certainly lying to me here on this official document from the Massachusetts Department of Revenue, saying that this is, I mean, literally paying, don't forget, paying taxes means more money for roads, schools, and public safety in your, with italics, in italics, and underlined community. That's how they write it. Harry says, check to see if Massachusetts taxes are mandatory or voluntary. If voluntary, you owe nothing. Like federal taxes. P.S. If they take you to court, tell them you want a trial by common law. Like, are we talking English common law, Harry Parrott? From like 1,000 years ago? I mean, I understand our system is built off English common law, but is that what you mean when you say common law? Not maritime law? Table Rock Guy, what's going on, man? Good evening. How are you tonight? Good to see you. Good to see you. It says, so a dog can't shit on the sidewalk, but a human can. Apparently, according to Supreme Court. Or at least the district attorney who is arguing it to the Supreme Court. Jesse, what's going on, my brother? Says, Mr. Mass, how's it going, my guy? Long time no see. Been on USA vacation. Had a great time. That's good, man. I'm glad you're having a good time. You're enjoying the States. That's good. Where you been, Jesse? Anywhere you want to mention that's been really cool? Somebody that left an impression on you? Oh, Harry, that I was going to play that tonight. It was part of the live stream. Right here. I had a thumbnail for, not a thumbnail, but a little like screenshot for it and everything. Yeah, that was going to be what the video was about tonight. It's kind of getting based off that and a couple other things. But yeah, she got absolutely demolished. And Harry, the funniest thing about that was, I'm sure you've seen it, obviously, was when Marshall goes on to give his rebuttal he talks about, all the elections in the past that he thinks, are all fair game for people to say they were all, democratically elected and we all accept those results. And he finishes, the last thing he said was, and I would assume that Miss Pelosi would agree that the 2016 election was not hijacked by Russia. And she piped up and said, no, it was hijacked. And like, he threw his hands up to be like, do you guys understand how fucked up this is? She's still sitting here saying that the 2016 election was hijacked, when in her own argument, she had to make the case that this next election, democracy was on the line and that free and fair elections were on the line. She can't even allow herself to contemplate saying that the 2016 election, if anything, was just, they weren't expecting a game show host, Donald Trump, to beat an establishment DC swamp creature like Hillary Clinton, neocon warmonger, who's going to break all the glass ceilings and be the first woman president. They didn't see Donald Trump really coming. Again, I thought about it either yesterday or the day before. I was thinking back to 2020 during COVID and how many different YouTube commercials were just from the Democratic Election Committee saying, if you need a ballot sent to your home, please call this number. I mean, literally for weeks, it was every other commercial was being pushed to get a write-in ballot from home. And, when you watch the talk shows now going into 2024's election, they're asking all the possible vice presidential candidates that Trump might pick, will they accept the results of the 2024 election? And a lot of them have answered the same, saying, if we see that there's everything's on the up and up and that states don't go without legislatively changing election laws at the last minute and allowing things that have never been allowed before, then yeah, of course. But if there starts to be shenanigans again, for instance, it just came out, I want to say in Fulton County in Georgia, someone's bringing a case down there about the election. And they were doing a recount, I believe. Yeah, here it is right here. Fulton County fraudulent. Oh, no, that's not it. That's not it. Sorry. Apparently, there was a recount done in Fulton County, Fannie Willis's county down in Georgia. And when they went back, they were looking for the digital scans of the ballots in order to do the recount. And according to the election committee for the county, they cannot locate 308,000 ballots from the 2020 election, which is the same county where, remember, Trump was asking Raffensperger there for 11,000 votes. Now, those votes could have gone to any candidate, right, that was registered to run in that county. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they are Trump votes that they can't find. A lot of them probably are Biden votes too. But the fact that they cannot locate them in a county where that came down to almost single-handedly turning the election, right? Georgia was like one of 3 states. And no one's being punished for it. And in fact, I think I read that the new head of the elections there in Fulton County is like some young girl who's just out of college. It's her first job in politics. Yeah, I don't know. But it's funny that we keep hearing about all this stuff about who's going to win the election and our people are going to accept the election. And I keep thinking to myself, like, in a real world right now, looking at the polling numbers, looking at the shape of our economy compared to 4 years ago, looking at the health of the current president compared to the former president, looking at the world being on fire as opposed to a nice, robust economy where, we had very low unemployment, real low unemployment, like not that people work in 3 jobs and they're counting that towards the unemployment numbers. But thinking about all that, and at the same time, the pundits on mainstream media keep asking Republicans, are they going to accept the results of the election? Like, in any other normal world, they would be saying, no, are you going to accept the results of the election? Harry Parrott says, Putin doesn't want Ukraine or World War III. He has to deal with CIC. Trump. Putin did his job. Case in point, Kiev is still standing. Yeah, again, someone's got to explain to me how it would be possible for Putin to invade a NATO country, right? Which would make Article 5 reality, where we would really have a NATO country under attack, which means we all have to respond, and possibly beat NATO forces throughout the entire battlefield of Western Europe, when he can't even cross the Dnieper River in Ukraine. Those two things can't be both truthful. Table Rock Guy says Boston Tea Party all over again. More like Boston Massacre all over again. But I hear you. Jeff Norman says if AMC is still headed for a MOAS. Wait, sorry, Jeff. Jeff says if AMC isn't still headed for a MOAS, why did it run up 100% today? I think both those things could be true, Jeff, but I'm definitely not going to say I shouldn't say never. I haven't used the word MOAS in probably 2.5 years. So is that possible? Absolutely. Of course. Yeah. I hope to fucking God it does. I hope to God it does. Why did it run up 100% today? Momentum. People are buying. I think there was a frenzy for a while. Look, it went all over social media. There is a lot of people, and people know about this stock, right? And so once people start talking and it gets out there, it's relatively cheap right now compared to, say, buying GameStop. And so people can load up. I'm not telling you one way or the other. I hope it continues to run. Honestly, for me personally, hope it comes back down a little bit tomorrow so I can maybe hop in. Or, convince my dad to hop in. Tony says AE will drunk tweet around 1:49 Central Standard Time. Time is it now? 12:30? Yeah, T, we'll have to do a live stream this week, huh? Definitely. No matter what happens in the next couple of days, we'll have to. CH says AMC getting cheated more than the Bruins. The Bruins are getting their ass kicked. They look like a bunch of pansies out there. Someone said GME, Tony, was up like $40 in after hours. Oh, there it is. Yeah. I don't have Robinhood, Tony. I got rid of Robinhood. So Jeff says, yes, AMC is no longer on overnight Robinhood. Harry says, screw it, pay your tax. If it comes down to it, Harry, and I have to, that might be the other route that I take. I'll drop it off in brown paper bags. I've seen some people on YouTube do that. It wouldn't be anything new. I don't know how they're possibly able to guarantee me though that this is not going. This is going to go towards what it says it will. It'll be an interesting phone call, that's for sure. Yeah, I've seen those videos. Gorilla God, I've seen them. Jesse says, I've been to San Fran. What'd you think of San Fran, Jesse? That's Nancy Pelosi's home district. Yosemite. Oh, you've been to some nice places, man. Death Valley, Vegas, Grand Canyon, Austin, and San Antonio. I bet you like Texas, huh? People are so friendly and welcoming. Well, yeah, you went to southern, yeah, you went to southwestern United States, right? You went to Nevada, Arizona, Yosemite's in California, San Fran, and Texas. You went to Tony's hometown of Austin? Yeah, Texas is the shit. When I can afford to buy my own place, I'm either going to Texas or Tennessee, that's for sure. One of the two. George777 says, easy, he doesn't give a shit. Who are we talking about, George? Georgie, how you doing tonight? Good to see you in the chat. Harry says, I heard during the Fulton County recount, they found 3 votes submitted by Fannie. Her original vote and her left check and her right check. Gorilla God says, Massalorian, let me ask you, what are your thoughts on the next Republican presidential candidate? What would that look like for you? You mean in 2028? Look, this is what I want. And I don't even think that Trump fits in this category, honestly, because he's got loyalties to other people out there who, you know, I might not necessarily align with ideologically, but I want someone who's concerned about this country first and foremost. Like the fact that we are bringing bills to the floor, any bill to the floor before the border has been closed is absolutely fucking ludicrous. I mean, if that doesn't drive you insane, I don't know what will. Knowing what's going on in these cities, that the administration is flying these people in on direct flights from all over the world. And, you know, they're calling the bill, the protective, whatever, I can't remember what it was entitled, but making it sound like it was some kind of, you know, security of the United States when we're literally being flooded at the southern border with people we have no fucking idea who they are. Like, I need somebody who's going to think about the American people first. And I don't see literally anyone in Congress or this administration who is thinking that way. And I just don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't get it. And it really, if the Ukraine flag thing the other night really freaked me out. I mean, yeah, that really, really irked me. That was like a red line for me where I mean, yeah, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, I can't be seeing this right now. This isn't real. When, you know, the former president can't get a round of applause from Democrats for actually doing something good for the country, for a minority, for a part of the minority of our country, nonetheless. These people are more worried about Eastern Europeans. Not that I have anything against, look, I don't have anything against any of the people in the rest of the world. I understand that there are a lot of other forces that work here besides, you know, the citizens of these countries. There's no animosity between me and these people. But again, I'm worried about the people who are already here, who are suffering right now. You know, I was told for years and years that immigration was necessary. These people come here and they add to the prosperity of the United States, and we need them to do these menial task jobs. And they are not a burden on, you know, any of the social services. That just is not the case. If that hasn't become clear now, abundantly clear, never be helped. Owning the flow. What's up, Mike? What's good, Mass? Send me your address so I can send you some WD-40 for his squeaky play. Good to see you too, man. I'll get some WD for you tomorrow. Shit, I didn't even realize. Is it that loud? All right, I gotta stop moving then. That's okay. I'm gonna probably be getting off in about 10 minutes You go to about 1:45. But I'm going to come back on tomorrow night as soon as I'm done with what I have to do tomorrow night. It might be probably around the same time as tonight. But I will go over the debate. I'll go over what the IMF report said. We'll go over Bukele's CPAC speech and the Treasury and the Federal Reserve and deglobalization, de-dollarization. We'll talk about all that stuff. So I kind of had that planned over the last couple of days for tonight, but obviously I'm going to change to what's immediately relevant to a lot of my audience, which was the market today. So, we're flexible. Thanks for the offer, Mike. George says GME $40 right now. Jesse says San Fran was good, just avoided the weird parts. LOL. That's good, Jesse. The only way you're still alive right now is because you did that. That's how you're able to be in the chat. And George, like I'm not simping for Putin either. Like I'm not a fan that he went into Ukraine. I think he could have hashed that out without doing that. I try to see this from his perspective and from the Russians' perspective. You do have to look at both sides of it. And I think there's a case to be made for, why things played out the way they did. And to not admit that the United States had a massive impact on what's happened since the coup back in 2014, it would just be disingenuous, right? And that's not to blame the Russian people or the Ukrainian people or the citizens of this country, because we didn't have anything to fucking do with that. We're talking about the overlords here who are playing God, and they have nothing better to do with their lives, I guess, than ruin other countries, and then reaping the benefits from having to go back and rebuild them with American contractors. Like I think people are waking up to that fact now. I think people see the game for what it is, and I think people are starting to understand that these supposedly elected officials have lost their fucking way. And, the younger generation is a little better than, most of these people who have been there 10, 20, 30, 40 years. But there's still a lot of, people who have other agendas, besides taking care of their constituents. And every day that goes by, that becomes more and more clear, I think, to the American people. There's definitely a storm coming. There is definitely a reckoning coming. No doubt about it. I just don't know what that looks like, really. Jesse says, Texas was amazing. Went to Comedy Mothership for a few nights and got buck wild. LOL. Is Comedy Mothership Rogan's place, Jesse? Is that Rogan's? Mike said, you said nice places and then said Death Valley. You could have died in both places, Jesse. Maka Ratters, think about this. They threw Americans in jail for carrying Don't Tread on Me flags in the Capitol building, right? So how can we I would say that this is worse than doing that. At least it represents the country at one point in history. Ukrainian flag represents no one in this country. 0 citizens. Exactly. And again, that's nothing against Ukrainian people. I'm sure they're all lovely people. And I get why the Ukrainian army is fighting back. They're being supplied by our military industrial complex, and they have pride and they want to defend their country from someone they see as being, a ruthless dictator who invaded their sovereign nation. So I understand why they're fighting back. I'd just like to see it come to an end sometime soon. If for nothing else, then people stop dying. Gorilla Garage says, I'm convinced none of them want the border closed. It helps them all politically. If they wanted the border closed, they would do it. Yeah, Gorilla Garage. You're right. Yeah, I don't think they're actually want the border closed. You're absolutely right. It's like 70%, I think, of the American people want the border locked up, like fully locked, no one else in. I think it's just somewhere around the numbers of that. So, yeah, I don't think there's one party that's. I mean, maybe you could say Democrats are a little worse, but the Republicans are just as bad. They don't give a shit either. It's not going to have a massive effect on them, right? Of those 500 and some odd people in DC, this is the problem. Is we're going to deal with the implications of this, right? It's the average Joe Schmo, us on the streets, who are going to deal with the negative effects of this mass illegal immigration. Just look around the rest of Europe right now. They've been dealing with it for a couple of years, right? And they're just finally now starting to organize and push back against this globalist agenda. And the fact that they don't have to deal with the consequences is very easy. It makes their decision making a lot easier. Whether they're getting kickbacks for it or they have some political aspirations, or if they are getting money for who knows, or they just want to get a new voting body in because they realize that they are losing some of their demographics that normally would be all in no matter what for that party or that particular candidate, bringing in a new voting class that will be loyal to you. But I agree with you on that. 95% of the people in Congress don't care because it's not going to affect them. Mike says, my ears are bleeding, but it's not that loud. Macroeconomic says, any foreign flag that includes Israel and Palestine flags too should be no flag above. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely not. There shouldn't be in the halls of Congress. There shouldn't be down on the floor. Shouldn't be anywhere. Nowhere in that building. That is the people's house. The people of this country. I don't care if it's fucking Ilhan Omar with her Somali flag or, anyone else. They shouldn't be in there. Gorilla God says billions overseas, billions in subsidies to companies, zero to helping home. I mean, and the crazy thing about this bill they just passed is they were literally fighting to be there at midnight on a Sunday to make this bill go through. What other time have you ever seen Congress, like literally on a Sunday night at midnight, trying to hash out a deal to pass a bill that would do something good for you or me? Jeff says, own the float classic video. Candace, the Dodgers lost. Own the float says, I couldn't believe Rowan K. He sent you, Rowan K sent you a video? Mike? What was the video of? Jesse says, yeah, Rogan's Club. 6th Street was fucking crazy, but in a good way. I can see why people aren't happy with how things there are, but don't forget how beautiful and good you guys got it there. Oh, that's the homeless are in Austin, Jesse. Don't forget how good you guys got it there. George says, war could be ended on February 25th, 2020 in Turkey. There was an agreement that Ukraine will remain neutral country. No NATO can join EU. Crimea will remain with Russia and small portion of Donbass. Yeah, on behest of this administration. Right, George? They sent Johnson there. Because who's Boris Johnson really? He was sent by our country. Britain's got no skin in this game. Boris Johnson was sent over by us. The day before, Kamala was in Ukraine saying the same thing, that they want Ukraine to be in a part of NATO, when and that's the weirdest thing. No other NATO country was arguing for that. It was only us. There was no clamoring in the halls of the EU to get Ukraine into NATO. Zero. How many times over the last 3 years have we seen or heard Joe Biden get up on the stage and tell a leader of a foreign country either don't or no, and they have completely just flipped him the bird and done exactly the opposite, done exactly what they wanted, exactly what he told them not to. I've seen 3 countries do it now in the last 3 years: Russia, Iran, and now Israel. Netanyahu just told Biden to rotate on it after he said, do not invade Rafah. I mean, if that's not the weakest, most feckless man ever to run this country, no one is afraid of Joe Biden. Why would you be? All right, guys, it's rolling up on 1 o'clock. I'm still only going like 6 hours of sleep in the last 3 days. But yeah, just look for the thumbnail tomorrow night. I have put up, I actually already made it because it was going to be the thumbnail for tonight, and I changed it last minute because of what happened in the market. So, but yeah, I got to go and do some figuring out of what I'm going to say to these people tomorrow at the revenue service. I got to make sure it's good enough quality that I can record it and put it up for a video. Doesn't sound cheesy. So I got to figure out exactly what I'm going to say, how I'm going to word it, so I can get an answer out of them. But thank you so much, guys, for coming back on this first night. It was so good to see like so many of you guys who I haven't talked to in months. That was really nice. And thank you for coming by and supporting the channel. Just here's my advice about the market. Just be careful. You know, don't get caught with your pants down. Take some profits if you want, if you can. You don't need to be greedy. You don't need to, you know, make a ton of money. And you know, if we do end up having a massive, huge run like 2021, you know, I'll be ecstatic right there with you guys. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm hoping that Aron does say that they're done with dilution, and maybe that could help the pendulum swing our way a little harder. You know, keep your eye on social media, see what people are saying, see how people are feeling, and just be smart. That's all. Just be smart. We've been in this game a long time now, so you know, we can all handle what's going to happen tomorrow. Don't get too excited or too depressed, right? All right, guys. I love y'all. I'll see you tomorrow night around same time, probably 10 o'clock. And, you know, we'll recap what happens in the market tomorrow, no matter what. And I'll have a couple of things. We'll go over the debate between Pelosi and Winston there, and Bukele's speech at CPAC about monetary and fiscal policy in the United States, the Federal Reserve, and the Treasury. Other than that, God bless you guys. Have a good night. Get some rest. And I wish you all luck tomorrow. And for those of you who have made money, congratulations. I'm very happy for you, whether it's GME or AMC. And don't get frustrated. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a good night.